and the 2026 budget will increase by 10.4%. Yung second largest component doon sa anti-corruption enforcement program at 39.7%. So this will increase by 6% from 698.3 million in 2025 to 739.9 million in 2026. Now, among the measures of accomplishments of the anti-corruption investigation program include yung completed case build-up reports and fact-finding investigations and/or lifestyle checks resulting in the filing of criminal and/or administrative cases. And the second one is criminal and forfeiture cases investigated and resolved. Now, considering the scale of anti-corruption investigation and enforcement required by the Ombudsman, especially now, is the current appropriation commensurate with the demands of their mandate? If yes, why? And if not, why not?
Mr. President, the Ombudsman will always make do and try their best to work within the budget allocated by Congress to them. And but they would welcome additional amounts, especially on training and IT, to improve their capacity in the context of what's happening right now, Mr. President. So, in other words, Mr. President, they would welcome additional support because of the expected deluge of cases that will coming from the ICI or even the Senate themselves.
Have they already initiated requests for such additional budgetary?
Yes, Mr. President, they sent the Senate some amounts for requests, especially on IT, Mr. President. During the budget hearing, Mr. President, the new Ombudsman was very clear that he wants to digitalize and improve on the automation systems of the Ombudsman, Mr. President, so that they can work faster and documents will be inventoried well and kept well, Mr. President, as opposed to nakatambak lang ho sila. No? So that is main thrust, Mr.
And
President.
for the record, the Finance Committee Chair is inclined to support such additional...
Yes, Mr. President. Like we mentioned, in fact, during the hearing, that was my question also. Ang konteksto ho natin ngayon, ang dami hong mga kaso. Ano ba yung mga supportang pwedeng ibigay ng Senado para makarespond tayo dito sa mga kasong ipapasa? And the reply of the Ombudsman is really digitalization. And I admire that because efficiency is not just adding manpower, but looking at your processes, Mr. President. But we welcome that, Mr. President.
And I assume the members of the body, I mean the Senate, will support whatever, move that you will take on the matter.
Yes, Mr. President, most especially suggestions coming from His Honor, because I know that you're very passionate also in the investigation of the flood control. And eventually, the output of the Senate Blue Ribbon will land on the desk of the Ombudsman, Mr. President.
Thank you. Last item, 3 programs itong nakita namin. Corruption Prevention Program, Development and Implementation of Integrity Promotion Programs to generate a critical mass of anti-corruption advocates in the campaign against official abuse, 44 million. Conduct of integrity assessments and corruption diagnostics to reduce the vulnerability of government agencies to corruption, inefficiency, and red tape, 58.5 million. And ARAL and ASAL program, 99 million. Now, just for my education, Mr. President, can you inform us of the details of this program? You don't have to go into the minutest detail, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman. Ano lang, parang walk us through lang para may idea kami.
So, Mr. President, the Ombudsman's thrust is not only to hold people to account, but also to prevent corruption, no, Mr. President. So, yung kasabihan na an ounce of prevention is better than the cure. So, they also have prevention programs. And these are all part of their prevention programs. For example, engaging different government offices, that's part of their program. Even engaging higher education institutions. So, as young as college students, they're also engaging them to let them understand the risk and the perils of corruption, Mr. President. So ito yung part ng kanilang prevention program.
So you're particularly referring to the ARAL and ASAL program, ano, I suppose?
Yes, Mr. President. All of this program is part of the corruption prevention program. Iba-iba lang po. Yung development and implementation of integrity promotion programs, this is geared towards government offices. Tapos yung counterpart fund on the ARAL-ASAL project per MOU between the Ombudsman and higher education institution, ito po yung sa mga college, Mr. President.
Okay.
In fact, alam ko sa ang Valenzuela was also engaged once upon a time by the Ombudsman, yung aming local university.
Thank you for the information. As a parting shot, ano, my office has some newly discovered documents that are not part of the records of the Blue Ribbon Committee. No? And ang plano ko po rito is to send these documents to the Ombudsman with the intention of allowing them to conduct motu proprio investigation. Kasi hindi na na-cover ng Blue Ribbon na committee hearing, but these are newly discovered documents, ano? That would implicate some other personalities. So will it be okay if I send this to the Ombudsman?
The Ombudsman raised his thumbs up, Mr. President.
And I assure him it will be very interesting to him. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you very
Senator
much,
Lacson.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. President.
Maraming
That's all.
salamat.
All right. Before I recognize the majority leader, because we have opened not only the budget deliberations, but the bicameral conference committee that has been planned, and with our agreement with the president, everything is on live stream. Right now, we are on live stream. There are comments about some of the chairpersons, even yesterday and now. And let me speak for them, just for the record, so that those who are watching us, the chairpersons of the different committees that are assigned to them, departments and offices that are assigned to them, at times their answers or replies take time, because they have studied the budget of the different departments and offices that they are sponsoring. You ask them anything about the budget, they will be able to answer. But when you start asking them about other things other than the budget, they will have to talk to the officials concerned. So they are here to defend the budget and their respective assignments. But as I said, when queries other than the budget are asked, that's where the delays emanate. Yun lang, at para po sa mga nanonood, baka akala mga senador natin hindi alam isasagot. Hindi naman kasi related sa budget. Kaya talagang madidelay sila ng pagsagot. Yan po ang gusto kong ilagay on record. Alright, so now I recognize the majority leader.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo, dyan sa clarification, dahil kahit na budget debates ho to, hindi naman ho natin linilimitahan yung mga senador magtanong ng policy questions or even current events questions.
Correct.
Kaya ho yung mga policy and current events, ito po yung mga bagay na alam lang po ng mga ahensya o yung detalye mas alam ho nila kumpara ho sa atin. Pero sa budget ho, yung mga chairman at vice chairman, kabisado ho nila yan.
Yeah, we do not prevent that. We do not have closure in the Senate. But then again, you will have to wait for them to get the answers. They cannot they cannot answer off the cuff. All right, Majority Leader.
With that, Mr. President, there being no other reservation for interpellation, I move to close the period of interpellation on the budget of the Ombudsman. and the same be deemed submitted for the body's consideration.
Any objection? Hearing none. The budget of the Office of the Ombudsman is deemed submitted.
I ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we now consider the budget of the Commission on Human Rights and the Human Rights Violations, yung makita. Violations Victims Memorial Commission. And recognize the distinguished Committee on Finance Chair, Senator Gatchalian, to sponsor.
The consideration of the budget of the Commission on Human Rights and its attached agency or agencies is now in order for interpellation. The sponsor of the budget of the Commission is recognized.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Mr. President, let it be placed on record that the fiscal year 2026 proposed new appropriations for the Commission on Human Rights and its attached agency amount to 1.3 billion pesos. Of this amount, 1.2 billion pesos is allotted to the CHR, while 62 million pesos is allotted to the Human Rights Violations Victims Memorial Commission. We are now prepared to address any questions from our colleagues. Thank you, Mr. President.
There being no other reservation for interpellation, I move to close the period of interpellation of the budget of the Commission on Human Rights and its attached agency.
There is a motion by the Majority Leader to close the period of interpellation and to deem submitted the budget of the CHR. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Immediate suspension, Mr. President.
Congratulations. Session is suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider the budget of the Department of Justice and its attached agencies, the Bureau of Corrections, Bureau of Immigration, Land Registration Authority, National Bureau of Investigation, Office of the Government Corporate Counsel, Office of the Solicitor General, Parole and Probation Administration, Presidential Commission on Good Government, Public Attorney's Office, and the Office for Alternative Dispute Resolution. And recognize the sponsor, our Chair Committee on Finance, Senator Win Gatchalian.
The consideration of the budget of the Department of Justice and its attached agencies is now in order for interpellation and to
interpellate
sponsor.
our Senate President Vicente Sotto.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, the sponsor, and the interpellator, the Senate President, are recognized.
Before that, Mr. President, allow me to sponsor the budget of the Department of Justice for fiscal year 2026. The proposed new appropriations for the Department of Justice and its attached agencies amount to 43 billion pesos. And the breakdown is as follows. For the Office of the Secretary, 11.4 billion pesos. For the Bureau of Corrections, 10.8 billion pesos. For the Bureau of Immigration, 5.3 billion pesos. For the Land Registry Authority, 1.3 billion pesos. For the Bureau of Investigation, 3.8 billion pesos. For the Office for Alternative Dispute Resolution, 160 million pesos. For the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel, 304 million pesos. For the Office of the Solicitor General, 1.7 billion pesos. For the Parole and Probation Administration, 1.2 billion pesos. For the Presidential Commission on Good Government, 275 million pesos. And for the Public Attorney's Office, 6.4 billion pesos. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Senator Gatchalian, the Senate President is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Honor, thank you. Will the distinguished chairman of the Committee on Finance favor us with the
It will be an honor,
answers to a
Mr.
few
President.
questions? Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. President, as of the 31st of October, 2025, the Bucor has 293% jail congestion rate. 293%. Based on your latest statistics on prison congestion, there is 387% occupancy rate for the new Bilibid prisons. Because while its capacity is only 5,678, the persons deprived of liberty, or PDLs, population is 21,996. Now, for the Correctional Institute for Women, Your Honor, Mr. President, its capacity is only 1,280, but the population is 2,940. For the Iwahig Prison and Penal Farm, the PDL population is 4,491, but its capacity is only 766. For the Davao Prison and Penal Farm, there are 9,717 PDLs, but the capacity is only 2,898. These are the examples, but all the prison facilities are severely overpopulated. Now, Mr. President, may I know how many prison facilities are needed in order to decongest our jails? How much is needed to be placed in your budget needed to reach the target facilities? Let me add that in your budget proposal for 2026, maybe we know also how much is allocated for building facilities for the PDLs.
Thank you for that question, dear Senate President. Itong topic na ito, hindi ho marami ang nakakaalam at nagpapasalamat po ako sa inyo dahil binigyan niyo po ng attention. Ito po yung issue ng ating persons deprived of liberty. Tama ho kayo, talagang siksikan po yung ating mga pasilidad para po sa ating mga PDLs. In fairness naman po sa Bucor, they managed to, with some innovation and also some good management, napababa nila to 214% yung congestion from 293. Pero still, 200 pa rin. No? So, Mr. President, based on their computation and based on the regional prison concept, ang kakailanganin po to achieve a below 100% congestion rate is about 35 billion, Mr. President. Yun ang kakailanganin ho nila.
With that amount, how many facilities can be built for the PDLs? If that is given. No, currently, magkano muna? Currently, magkano yung naka-allotted?
For the total budget po ng Bureau of Corrections is about 10 billion pesos po. 10.8 billion pesos under the committee report, Mr. President. Pero yung for buildings, yung structures po, is about 676 million pesos, Mr. President.
676. And based on this proposal to decongest, ano nga yun? Figure mo, 35
billion, Mr.
35
President.
billion.
Ito po yung pinaplano nilang regional prisons, Mr. President, para hindi po lahat nakakonsentrate sa Iwagig, sa Davao Prison, sa San Ramon. So they're thinking of building regional prison facilities, Mr. President.
Ayan, precisely. That brings me to the law that I principally authored, which is the 11928, Republic Act 11928. It's an act establishing a separate facility for persons deprived of liberty, convicted of heinous crimes, and appropriating funds therefore. The reason that we passed this 3 years ago, and the reason I authored this bill is because we wanted to remove the heinous criminals from the rest of the population of the PDLs. Let me give you a little background on this. May konting istorya po ito that involves also Senator Lacson and myself. Kami po nung araw, we are pro-death penalty. As a matter of fact, I was the principal author of the reimposition of the death penalty for drug trafficking in the early 90s, in the 9th and 10th Congress. Ako po yung nagpasok sa plunder, sa death penalty, drug trafficking, death penalty law. All right. Now, after so many years and after so many debates, pagdating ng 2000, and I think the 13th Congress, they removed it. Ni-repeal yung death penalty. And then later on, I have been involved in all the debates. I can debate for both sides. Narinig ko na lahat Narinig ko na yung pro-death penalty, narinig ko na rin yung anti. So later on, sabi ko walang mararating ito Why was I so engrossed in the heinous criminals like drug trafficking, high-level drug trafficking? Yung pong mga ibang mga krimen kasi, kapag ito ay nahuli mo, nakulong mo, murder, nahuli mo, nakulong mo, nakakulong na. Yung rapist, nahuli mo, nakakulong no, hindi na makakaulit ng krimen niya. Baka siya pa ma-rape doon sa loob. Ganon din yung ibang krimen Nagnakaw, kinulong mo, hindi na makakapagnakaw. Pero yung lintik na drug trafficker, lalo na yung high-level drug trafficker, nakakulong na, nag-ooperate pa. And that is the reason that I wanted them out. Kung sana nga pwede evaporate. Naririnig ko rin naman yung other side na sinasabi na anti-death penalty na hindi ganito, na dapat siya meron. So, I came up with this idea. Hiwalay na lang sila. Alisin sila, lahat ng heinous criminals. Put them in an island somewhere in either Mindoro or Palawan. As a matter of fact, during that time, I was talking to Governor Alvarez, Pepito Alvarez, and I told him, meron bang island dyan pwedeng paglagyan dito sa mga to? Sabi niya, meron. Puro bato. Sabi ko, baka makakalangoy. Hindi, lagyan natin ng pateng, sabi niya. So, the Senator Lacson, who was also pro-death penalty before, changed his mind after seeing a documentary or in a movie that really shows that delikado. Delikado rin talaga yung may death penalty basta-basta eh. So, we authored this. Now, ito na nga, 3 years na. Ano? May I know your plans and what you have already done? I'm asking the department, of course, Secretary Bida, katutungtong lang dyan eh. So, your accomplishments regarding this law, building these separate facilities, may also help decongest our jails. At saka mayroon po kasama pag-aaral po yan, ha? Noong yan ay pinropose ko. Kaya po natin gusto yan. Alisin na rin natin ang Muntinlupa. Huwag na doon. Gawin natin regional, which is Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao muna. Ano? And the reason is because of a study that I got and I have read na ang isang PDL, kapag siya ay hindi na dinadalaw ng pamilya niya, doon nag-uumpisang magloko. Doon na nagiging sumasama sa mga gang at kung ano mga, you can ask my brad, the General Katapang. He would know. No? Kaya kung yan i-regionalize natin, yung mga taga Luzon, nakakulong sa Luzon. Like, for example, say, Nueva Ecija, yung Laor, meron doon pwede. Sa Visayas, pwede rin sa tabi ng PNP sa Capiz, the camp of the PNP. Sa Mindanao, pwedeng i-enhance yung penal colony ng Davao. So, yung mga pamilya, mabibisita nila. At makakaiwas tayo sa gulo. At hihiwalay natin yung mga loko, yung mga heinous criminals. So, that is the intention and the purpose of the law. Again, may we know the status and the accomplishments as far as Republic Act 11-928 is concerned.
Thank you, Senate President, for that very important question. I agree with you 100%, Mr. Senate President, na itong facility natin sa Muntinlupa, pwede nating ilipat to sa ibang lugar. No? Dahil unang-una, yung lupa sa Muntinlupa, alam nyo naman, napakamahal na.
Yes,
so we can earn revenue from that. Ngayon, yung mga PDLs lang ang nakatira doon, pero pwede natin gamiting revenue generator yan ng ating gobyerno. So I totally agree with you. And pangalawa, from the standpoint of peace and order, meron pong sinasabi ko kay Secretary Vida, sa El Salvador, the country of El Salvador, meron ho sila doon isang facility, it's called SECOT. No? Ito pong facility nila, modelo na ho to sa paggagawa po ng mga mega prison sa buong mundo po. At alam ko ito rin po yung inyong vision nung ginagawa yung batas na sinabi nyo, yung RA 11928. At ang vision nyo po is gumawa ng mga regional or island-based mega prisons at doon na ilalagay itong mga drug traffickers. And napakaganda pong plano yan. In fact, yan nga ang ginagamit ng El Salvador at doon rin pinapadala ng Amerika, no, yung mga kanilang mga yun talaga heinous crime or heinous criminals. So unfortunately, ang binigay lang po ng DBM to Bucor is only 200 million pesos to jumpstart the study. At ang rini-request po ng Bucor is 6 billion pesos to build the first facility in Sablayan, Occidental Mindoro. And I promised si General Katapang na next year, upuan natin mabuti ito para iplano natin itong ang tawag no Supermax facility in Sablayan. Kasi unang-una, may batas na yan. At pangalawa, alam ko ho, yan po ang inyong vision. At nakikita ko rin na ito rin ang paraan para ma-decongest natin yung ating mga prisons sa iba't ibang lugar. So, ang kakailanganin nila 6 billion pesos and I told General Katapang na we have to plan this properly at humingi tayo ng multi-year obligation certification para kung 6 billion yan, ano ba kailangan natin every year at ma-allocate siya every year hanggang matapos.
Thinking like a businessman, Your Honor, dahil kung let's say 6 billion ang kailangan at the start, to be able to do this. Yung pong Muntinlupa, pagka binakante, General Katapang, may we know how large is Muntinlupa now?
It's 365 hectares, Mr. President.
365 hectares.
Yes.
Puro PDL lang ang nakatira.
Oho, talagang hindi ho efficient dahil yung ganong kalaking lupa in Metro Manila, halos imposible na hong mahanap po yun. No?
365, okay, hectares. Yung Muntinlupa, pag inalis natin doon yung ang mga Bureau of Correction, ang Bucor, inalis natin. 365 hectares na bakante, you can turn it into a university belt. Grabe ang magagawa ng gobyerno dyan. Magkano ngayon per square meter ang lupa doon sa around area ng Muntinlupa?
Ang advice ko sa akin ni General Katapang, kasi pina-estimate na nila, is 250,000 per square meter.
250,000 per square meter?
Yes.
Ganun
ka mahal.
Mas mahal pa sa Alabang, ha?
Oo, talagang ano yan eh.
Okay.
Prime property ho yan. Prime property.
Ilang square meters ang 365 hectares?
Sa 10,000 po. So times 10,000.
10,000 per hectare.
365 times 10,000.
Oh.
Times 250 times 250,000, magkano yan? Hindi na ho kasya sa calculator.
3,650,000 square meters.
Yes.
Di ba ba? Okay.
Yes.
3,650,000 square meters. At 250,000 per square meter. Magkano po yun?
912 billion.
912 billion. 6 billion lang itong kailangan mo na.
Correct.
May magpapautang dyan.
Correct. Tama ho. Pag-aagawan ho yan ng mga developers.
Correct. Hindi natin kailangan ilagay pa, problemahin pa sa budget. You just open it up to any businessman who would be, paira mo na, utang. Si Ramon, kay Ramon ang lang yan, one click eh. Di ba? Okay na muna 6 billion advance. Di ba? Umpisa na namin to. Grabe ang ginhawa sa ating bansa at sa gobyerno. At makikinabang pa yung mga pamilya ng mga PDLs at makikinabang din tayo at maiiwasan na natin yung sinasabing yung mga nagtutulak ng death penalty. Kasi mas parang death penalty mo na rin yung mga yun pag hiniwalay mo yun at nilagay mo sa isang island na walang cell site, walang komunikasyon, dinideliver lang ang pagkain, nakapaligid, puro pating. Di ba?
Yun, parang Alcatraz.
I suggest that the Department of Justice make a study on this matter. And perhaps, talk to the businessmen, to the business community. Madali ito. Hindi kailangan pera ng taong bayan ang gamitin natin dito para maipatayo ito pagka ganyan ang usapan. Hindi po ba?
Tama ho kayo, Senate President. And ang ating bagong kalihim ng Department of Justice ay nandito, nakikinig ho siya. Kailangan ho talaga itong magkaroon ng parang transition plan. Because how do we plan this out, including the financial aspect? So kasi nga ho, kung let's say yung 365 hectares, ilan ho doon muna, let's say first phase, tapos ilipat yung mga preso, second phase. So it has to be a holistic plan. And nangako ako sa kanila na upang ko ho sila January para maplano, tumulong sa pagplano.
All right. Thank you very much.
At makakatulong rin ho to sa peace and order. I truly believe.
Correct. Tama po yun. Malaki po ang benefits natin pagka nagawa natin to. Now, dumako naman po tayo doon sa medical needs ng mga PDLs. Considering the minimal amount of their medical allowance, your medical allowance, magkano yung medical allowance niyo?
Under the Senate Committee report po, dinagdagan ho natin from 15 pesos to 20 pesos po ang medical allowance per PDL po.
Per PDL for how long? For a day or pag nagkasakit?
Per day po, per day. Per day.
Per day.
Yes.
20
Yun po ang
pesos per day.
calculation ho nila. So tinaasan ho natin yung kanilang medical allowance po.
Okay. Have you tried coordinating with PhilHealth or DOH for a, let's say, MAIP or AX assistance to cater to their medical needs? May PhilHealth naman sila.
Yeah, meron ho silang PhilHealth, Mr. President. I was advised by General Katapang na covered ang PDLs ng PhilHealth, Mr.
Oh,
President.
at saka I'm sure
Involuntary.
General Katapang has already solved that previous problem with the infirmary. Nung panahon ng COVID? Yeah. Okay.
Okay na po yun. Inaayos na po yung
All
problema ng COVID.
Very good. Thank you very much. Now, I have seen once in Evia. Alam niyo ba Evia? Doon sa Muntinlupa, malapit doon, di ba? Yung pong Evia, it's a mall owned by former Senate President Manny Villar. Meron po siyang exhibit of artworks by persons deprived of liberty. Nakita ko minsan. And they are for sale. Not only that, also Letran, my alma mater, Letran, and particularly Letran Calamba, have a jail ministry program for 12 months, now helping the inmates of the city jail and the Bucor in their jurisdiction. Here, flash on the screen. Some of the works of the PDLs showcasing their talent and creativity. Are there programs? What are your programs and plans for the livelihood of the PDLs to help them support their families kahit sila'y nakakulong, even from the inside? At hindi nagtatraffic ng droga.
Well, maganda ho itong pinakita nyo, Mr. Senate President. In fact, doon po sa special provision, itong mga kinita ho nila pupunta directly sa welfare po ng ating mga PDL. So hindi ito pupunta sa Bucor but diretso sa mga PDLs ho natin. So ang Bucor po encourages them to come up with ganitong mga parang livelihood na rin ho ito, no? Kasi they earn from it. And meron din ho silang mga training programs in partnership with TESDA. So ang objective ho dito, pagbalik ho nila sa society, meron ho silang skills na magagamit ho nila para maghanap ng trabaho. Kung gusto ho nila magtayo ng sariling negosyo, meron ho silang skills. Dahil importante rin ang paglaya ho nila, meron ho silang pagkakakitaan para hindi ho bumalik. No? So, importante na sustainable po yung kanilang magiging pagkakakitaan. So, meron ho silang mga livelihood programs, skills development with TESDA para po maging productive yung paglabas ho nila.
Okay. Yeah, just to inject a little levity, Your Honor, Mr. President, pinapayagan ba yung pagtatoan nun, yung pagtatato? Pinapayagan nyo, no?
Bawal ho. Bawal. Pinagbabawalan po na magtatuho sa loob ng kulungan.
Eh, ba't puro tattoo sila?
I think sa labas ho yun eh.
Ha?
Bago yata ho kinulong, meron na hong ganun eh.
So ngayon, bawal na yun.
Bawal na ho yun. Bawal na ho sa...
Hindi sila pwedeng sila nagtatatuan, ha?
Bawal ho, and according kay General Katapang na even yung mga PDL, bawal ho silang magtato ng kapwa PDL.
Oo.
No? So in fact, may mga cases nga ho raw na pinapatanggal ho nila dahil yun po ay may mga code for different gangs and syndicates. No? So pinapatanggal ho nila.
Well, as I said, I wanted to inject a little levity lang kasi meron akong kakilala na kinikwento niya paglabas nung isang PDL, may tato. Ang tato sa likod niya, yung picture ni Jesus Christ. Doon niya sa loob nakakuha. Sabi. Anyway, sige, basta we will take the word
Pero
of General
ina-assure
Katapang
tayo
there
ni
for
General
that. Bawal
Katapang na
bawal.
bawal yan sa
Bawal
loob.
na, okay.
Baka sa labas, baka.
Okay. For our also for our persons restored of liberty or the PRLs, yung LAYA, 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 no? I saw that there are religious organizations, as a matter of fact, Jesuits, and non-government organizations who are helping them for their reintegration into society. So, ayos pa rin to.
Yeah, in fact, aside from yung itong mga livelihood programs, training, ang Bucor po very active sa moral and spiritual revival
Reformation,
ng mga PDLs.
Tama. Kasi while reintegration is not within the mandate of the Bucor, no? Reformation is. So, yung intervention prior to their release, may I know what are the programs and plans for their reformation? How do you measure its effectivity? Ito ba may funding? Is the funding sufficient to make sure that PDLs are ready once they are released?
So, Mr. President, hindi lang po pinapakawalan o pinapalaya lang po sila. So, meron rin mga reintegration programs na ginagawa po ang Bucor. So, may orientation program sila, may reintegration program po sila. And then, meron mga kasama po doon yung mga tinitingnan rin yung pangangatawan ng tao, kung maayos po yung pangangatawan ng tao. And of course, yung nabanggit ho natin kanina, mga skills development and livelihood. So, hindi lang ito biglang palalayain po tomorrow. May proseso rin po para yung tao ay handa na bumalik po sa lipunan na maging produktibong mamayan po ng ating bansa.
And you have a budget for that?
Yes, meron po.
Reintegration, reformation, I asked kasi yung aking isa sa mga best buddies ko si former Congressman Baby Asisio, Luis Baby Asisio. He was there for 11 years. Nung papalayain na siya, hindi makalabas. Ayaw niya. Natatakot daw siya lumabas. Parang for a while gusto niya matulog pa rin doon. Kaya importante nga yun at nabanggit niya sa akin, dapat mayroon talagang reintegration, reformation na programa kayo doon.
Okay, Senate President, sa tagal po nung iba na nasa loob, siyempre nasanay na po. Yung iba ay natatakot paglabas po nila, baka hindi nila alam kung paano mag-survive o anong trabaho makukuha. So meron hong budget, about 200 million po ang nakalaan para sa mga training and reorientation program.
Correct. Tama, mabuti in that case kasi yan, pwede pa rin coordinate with DSWD or TESDA, para hindi makaisip bumalik doon sa krimen nila. At maging pakinabang na mamamayan sa bansa natin. So yun lang po. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Thank you very much to the entire Department of Justice. Mr. President, thank you.